All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're doing a deep dive comparison of two very different capital-based routes to a U.S. green card. This isn't just a surface level overview. Think of it as a strategic breakdown for anyone making this incredibly important decision. So, what's the real question we're trying to answer here? It's this. When you strip it all down, what are the fundamental, strategic differences between these two paths? We're going to go way beyond the basics to really understand how these differences should shape your thinking. Here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at what actually happens to your money. Is it an investment or just a sunk cost? Then we'll get into the cost structure for families, which is huge. After that, we'll hit the capital requirement tiers, program predictability and risk, and the flexibility you have as an investor. And finally, we'll wrap it all up. Okay, let's start with maybe the most important question of all. What happens to your capital? Is it money that's being put to work with a chance of coming back to you, or is it a one-time payment that you'll never see again?
We'll call this whole idea capital treatment. And honestly, getting your head around this is the absolute foundation for comparing these two programs. It really defines the entire financial logic of your application and what could happen to your money down the line.
And wow, the contrast here could not be more stark. With the EB-5 program, your money is treated as true investment capital. It goes into a U.S. business, and there's a real potential for that principal to be returned to you, sometimes even with a profit. The gold card, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. It's a non-refundable payment. It's a sunk cost, period. You are not getting that principal back. So that brings us right to our second point, and you'll see how these build on each other, the cost structure for families. If you have a spouse or kids, this right here can be an absolute game changer. The financial implications are massive. Under the EB-5 program, the idea is pretty simple. One single investment covers the whole immediate family. That means you, your spouse, and all your unmarried kids under 21 are all covered under that one amount. Now let's contrast that with the Gold Card program. This thing operates on a per-person basis. Every single individual needs their own full payment. So your spouse needs one, and each of your children needs their own separate payment too. And here's where you really see the impact. It's just staggering. For a family of four, the EB-5 route might require an $800,000 investment. But that same family using the Gold Card path would be looking at a total cost of $4 million. That's an exponential leap, and it's a critical strategic point to consider. Okay, on to our third point of comparison. Let's just look at the raw numbers for a second. The minimum price of admission to even get started with these programs, not even counting the family costs we just talked about. So the standard EB-5 investment is just over $1 million, but, and this is a big but, it can drop to $800,000 if the project is in what's called a targeted employment area, or TEA. The Gold Card starts at $1 million for an individual, and there's also a separate $2 million option for corporate sponsorship. All right, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked a lot about money, but let's move on to something just as crucial, risk and predictability. How mature are these programs? How stable are the rules of the game you're about to play? The EB-5 program has been around for decades. And what that means is you have a deep well of precedent to draw from. There's a long history of how these applications are judged. The legal framework is very well established, which gives applicants a pretty high degree of clarity on what's expected and how things are likely to go. So whenever you're looking at a brand new program, what are the big questions that just naturally pop up? This isn't a criticism, it's just a necessary part of any serious risk assessment. You have to ask yourself, what don't we know yet? Because it's so new, the Gold Card just doesn't have that history to look back on. According to experts, there are still some key questions about how this payment structure fits in with the existing visa categories. And like any new initiative, the requirements could change or evolve as the program finds its footing, which adds a layer of uncertainty. All right, our last big point of comparison. This one is all about flexibility. How much choice do you, the applicant, actually have in how you structure things and how involved you want to be? With the EB-5 program, you've got two very different options. You can make a direct investment, which is a very hands-on approach where you might be starting your own business. Or you can take a passive route and invest through a regional center project. The Gold Card program, though, has just one pathway. You make a direct payment. There's no investment vehicle or style to choose from.
We have covered a ton of ground, so now let's pull all 5 of these points together into one final synthesis. This will give us a really clear, at-a-glance summary of everything we've talked about.
So let's run down the scorecard. First, capital treatment. EB-5 is an investment with potential return. Gold Card is a sunk cost with no return. Family cost, huge difference. EB-5 is a single investment for the whole family. Gold Card is a per-person payment. The capital minimum. EB-5 can actually be lower at $800,000. Predictability. EB-5 is high thanks to its long history. The Gold Card is naturally lower because it's new. And finally, flexibility. EB-5 gives you real options, direct versus passive, while the Gold Card has none. It's just the payment.
And that brings us to the most important question of all. See, it's not about which path is better in some general sense. That's the wrong way to think about it. The real question is, which one of these very different financial and risk profiles actually aligns with your personal strategy, your family situation, and your ultimate goals?